Welcome to the Growth with AI podcast, hosted by Integrated AI Services. I'm Peter Martinson, and today's episode dives into how AI is reshaping modern marketing, from branding and design workflows to how agencies support and scale small businesses. Our guest is Nikole Haumont, founder of Shield Bar Marketing, a firm known for combining strategic storytelling, clean design, and practical digital solutions to help businesses stand out. Nikole, it's great to have you here.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate sharing the screen time with you and being on your podcast today.
Wonderful. Well, let's start off easy. What first got you into doing what you're doing now?
Back in the late 1900s, I was certified in HTML website design, and that led into working for newspapers, actually creating their websites and maintaining them. And then I started a horse publication with a business partner, ran that for 6 years, sold it 2 days before I got married. Fast forward, I ended up working for GoDaddy for about a year and a half and realized with all of the technologies advancing back then, this was, 2012, that people needed help and they needed a person that they could actually trust because I literally would talk to at least one person a week crying on the phone because they got $10,000 taken or they lost control of their domain name or
Mhm.
numerous things happened. And so when my son was a year old, my husband and I decided one of us needed to stay home. And I said, okay, I will, except for I don't like cleaning. So I started Shield Bar Marketing in 2013 and have grown it since then, including an acquisition in 2024 where I expanded my team and my client base.
Fantastic. So, what realm or niche did you expand into that you weren't already in?
We are full stack marketing. So we really like to try to help our clients with everything from strategy and branding and logo design all the way to every bell and whistle that you need when it comes to marketing, as long as
Mhm.
it works for them. So instead of expanding another service, I actually just bought existing client base and also brought on a few full-time team members. Prior to the acquisition in 2024, I was a solopreneur who had a few subcontractors. And so I went from doing that back to having W-2 employees and all the fun that comes with that.
Awesome. So, I'm going to try to remember to get back to employees again in a minute. But first, I mean, you're obviously using AI in some parts of your work and your workflows. What motivated you to bring that into your company? What benefits did you see from that?
I see a lot of parallels from the late 1900s. 1999 is when I was HTML certified and taking advantage of the emerging technology then
Mhm.
versus the emerging technology now. And it is our duty as marketing people who want to provide good services for our clients to make sure that that latest technology is working well for us and for them. So yes, of course, internally, we've been using it for our own processes, our own thought ideation. We still make sure we bring that human touch and that human knowledge to every piece that we work on, because my team and I, we do have decades of experience in
Mhm.
marketing and in life. And we want to make sure our clients are represented properly, not just having hallucinations and junk thrown out there. So we really try to make sure every client has their own iteration of ChatGPT as our main tool at this point in time. We're always evaluating though. Gemini is really coming to the forefront. And so we use those tools and develop that content for that client in their voice. We really coach and train the AI to make sure whatever content we do create represents them properly. And we're also, of course, working on internal workflows that are more automated. I mean, automation's been around forever, but having kind of that agent thought process behind it is definitely changing how we do some of the marketing we do. And we want to make sure our clients can access that too, having a trusted voice in the space that they can be like, hey, we heard about this. Does it work?
Nice. So what's your favorite automation platform? Is it Make or Zapier or N8N or
We use Zapier and we're just starting to dabble in N8N. It is
Mhm.
definitely a unique tool. We personally use Go High Level for our CRM. And so
Okay.
they, in the last 6 weeks, have launched so many new AI automations within there that now it's looking like you don't have to use the N8N as much to have that brain behind it. So we're constantly checking and tweaking things. We always try it on ourselves first. And then we have a couple clients that are our guinea pigs on everything. One happens to be my parents who own a garage door company, so we can use it on their local service business. And another one is a hair salon that I go to that's also a local service business. And they both are always like, yes, try it on us first. They get a discounted rate. We make sure it works, and then we can roll it out to the rest of our clients.
Fantastic. That sounds great, especially having people who are less likely to ditch you if it doesn't go quite right the
True,
first
very
time.
true. Then you have to see me every weekend still.
Yeah. Oh, so where do you find that you're using, AI or automation the most in your internal workflows? Is it, responding to emails or lead generation or?
I personally use it a lot as a thought partner. I always tell
Mm,
it like what kind of avatar I want it to be, and then I say, ask me one question at a time because I want to make sure my opinions and my voice are in there, but then I'll have it generate the script. I also, of course, use it for email. It makes it so much easier to be like 3 lines and then, okay, make this professional, polish it. But one of the biggest workflows that we're working on is our YouTube channel where I am the main person on there talking. We've tried doing some AI avatars, just not quite there yet. I'm not
mhm.
sure that I want to clone. That kind of is scary to me.
Yep.
So we're still recording them. However, what I've been doing is having ChatGPT do a lot more deep research, making sure it cites all the sources, still verifying all the sources. We're not quite there that we can just trust it blindly, and
Mhm.
then add in my experiences and then create the script. And then I have a script that's ready to go, pop it into my teleprompter, and then my crew handles the rest of it. They are using artificial intelligence for editing, for adding the
Mhm.
captions, different things like that, but we still have human interaction at every step. My goal, though, would be to get to 80% AI and 20% human. Just make sure that first 5% is human and the last 15% is human, and let the rest of it do its work.
That's a great goal to have. Yeah. The Pareto principle it just sort of it's always there, isn't it? The
It
80/20
always
rule.
is.
So going back to the earlier comment about that you acquired another company and now you have some employees again, have you found that AI is changing the kind of people you need to hire?
We've always been a agency that values people who are continuous learners. And so that type of person is what we still need in artificial intelligence. With
Mhm.
AI going on, you have to be willing to constantly learn. And so I like to have people that are willing to bring us ideas versus us tell them to go find us the ideas. So we've always hired for that to begin with. And so not necessarily has it changed what type of person we're looking for. We trust the people we have working for us, whether it our actual payroll people or our subcontractors, but now we're challenging them. How can you make it more efficient? And I told them, I said, just yesterday we had a meeting. I said, I don't want you to think you have to do more work because you're being more efficient. I want you to think about our customer journey, think about our internal options. How can we create automations and use AI in order to make everything work better? Not necessarily just add more to our plate. That's not a goal of anybody. I really want my employees to enjoy working for me and with me, and that we all have boundaries. Wherever your feet are, that's where your brain needs to be. So if you're at work, you need to be at work. If you're enjoying your family, you need to be enjoying your family. And I remind them of that a lot because I know how hard it is, especially as a small business, that you always have all those hats on, but you need to have those boundaries in place.
Very nice. I'm sure your employees appreciate that. That is something that I do hear though, is that people are concerned. You hear this on the news, you hear it that well, if I'm able to be more efficient, then I'm just going to be given more work to do. And that's a slippery slope because traditionally people who are great at their jobs and get everything done fast just get more handed to them, right?
I see that a lot, definitely.
But yeah, encouraging your people to turn more into thinkers when in their newly freed time is a great choice. Is that working pretty well for you? Have you noticed your people sort of embracing that?
I will say my CEO and I definitely are doing that a lot more. We're really trying to encourage our junior employees that it's okay I think it's still so new that a lot of people feel like, oh, we just have to keep producing, producing, producing. And it's like, yes, of course, we need to get projects done, but take a step back and think about how we could make this work better. To me, I like picking the three things that I like to work on and do well. And I enjoy speaking. That's one of the reasons, I always say yes to a podcast interview, but I enjoy talking to other people. I'm still the main salesperson for the agency. So having the artificial intelligence there to back me up to do estimates faster, to create our Panda Docs faster, to write the emails faster, gives me more time to have more authentic conversations with real life people versus just hurrying up and jumping from one task to the other. And so encouraging our younger employees, because we do have a mix all the way from a fresh college graduate to, 25, 30 years of experience in the world, that it's okay. And I am a lot different than the big corporations in what I want my employees' values to be. I had a period in 2019 that I got stuff done and I won awards, but I literally slept probably half the year because I was so freaking tired. And I don't want that for anybody, whether you're an employee or a mom or a parent or you're a business owner, you got to set those boundaries. And so what I think is good for me, I let my employees know, hey, you can have those same boundaries too. So that's where the 80/20 rule comes back into play. What lights you up? What brings you joy? Let's have more of that at work. And let's hire somebody else to do the other three things you don't care to do.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm curious. You made a comment about being the primary salesperson. Where do you find most of your leads coming from these days? Is that a
So we, of course, always run meta ads. Those are always just kind of a top lead magnet generation. We are now working with a lot of cold email outreach that still has a play in there. You know, it's a long-term game on that one, just like SEO, AEO, GEO, all of that's long-term. But for me, I do a lot of volunteering in our community, and
Hmm,
I strategically do it with entities that it's mostly business owners or high decision makers in the company that are also there beside me volunteering. So getting to know people on a one-to-one basis helps because we want to develop partnerships. We don't want to just run a Google ad for you and never hear from you again. We want to be there and help you with everything in the marketing strategy. And it makes a difference when you have those one-on-one relationships. Now, with that being said, I've lived in 3 different states in my adult life. I have 3 different big networks. I have clients in 19 states. And so, reputation does precede you on some points.
fantastic. Okay. Um, so have you found or experienced any unintended consequences from using AI in your workflows or with your clients that you were like, oh boy, didn't see that coming?
At this point, no, other than forgetting to like delete the last little sentence, I can now write that for you in XYZ, when we first started using it back in late 2023, I had like 1 or 2 clients that for some reason or other, I forgot to delete that. And that's usually I'm very detail oriented. Thankfully, they're customers I have relationships with. And they're like, haha, nice chat GPT, and it's like, yep, you're right. You caught me. So, but so far, we really try to make sure right now we're setting up an AI answering agent specifically for ourselves first, and then we'll roll it out to our clients. But we're like, okay, once I or one of my crew members talks to that person, how do we shut off the AI? You want to make sure that you have a hard stop in there when you go from nurturing to actually talking to people, because you don't want to have a random text message go out when you just got off the phone with them 20 minutes later, and you just want to make sure that that's there. So that's one of the biggest things we're always looking at is making sure if we do have automations or artificial intelligence in place that they're firing properly. And we really try to build from that standpoint of, okay, how do we pause it if we need to? Because if there's a new update, I mean, Gemini had a huge update this week. ChatGPT's coming out with another huge update next week. How do you keep ahead of that? And you just got to know where it's at in your workflow and still have those human eyes on it to make sure it shows up properly where it's supposed to.
Gotcha. Yeah, great ideas. Um, so you were a solopreneur, preneur? Yeah, probably didn't pronounce that right, but until just recently. Until just recently, you were a loan operator. What advice would you give to other loan operators or small marketing agencies about um, how to use AI and bring it into their companies?
Now I will not hire another employee. Like the ones I have, we will train, we will make sure that they know how to use AI properly and are using it. But if we have somebody leave us, I plan on replacing it with automations and AI first because you have a lot less stress and a lot less overhead having that. And honestly, stay with a subcontractor as long as you can. Once you have W-2 employees, that opens up a whole nother level of operations that you have to handle, whether, it's
Right.
your FIDA, your FUCA, your SUTA, all of that. It's a lot easier to let a subcontractor go or cut their hours than an employee. And so I'm very loyal to my people and they're very loyal to me. And we have conversations about that. It's like, yeah, we could probably figure out automations and AI that would replace you tomorrow, but we want you here to operate it for us. So as long as you're wanting to be a continuous learner, you have a place here. But as a solopreneur, build it. Every time you do something, document it. So when you do hire that first VA or that subcontractor, they do it your way. I am a big believer in Dan Martell's buy back your time. That is
Mhm.
huge. Now though, checking email, I think Gemini has enough rules that we can set up to easily check email. That doesn't have to be the first thing you offload on your plate.
Okay. Well, we definitely hear a lot in the news about companies letting people go because they're replacing them with AI, and so I'm sure your people are happy to hear that you don't actually plan to proactively do that as long as they continue being lifelong learners. So this is actually my third career in my life, and I'm in my 50s. So yeah, never ending learning.
Very true.
But yeah. So do you have a roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months for other changes that you're going to make in your agency with any sort of AI or automation tools?
Right now, we are working on the AI answering service. This will be more of a Q&A type of answering, though, not just, oh, yes, we can pass you through to Nikole or whoever. It will actually ask questions and get people to kind of raise their hand on certain services before we actually get on the phone and hopefully pre-qualify them a little bit more. As business owners, we always need to know if it's a qualified person on the other end before investing too much time in it.
Sure.
And then after that, we actually are going to be launching a video content creation engine. So we will be helping business owners who don't feel comfortable in front of the camera or don't know what to say, helping to develop their voice and their scripts for them, teach them how to just do a quick video on their camera and then offer the editing and everything else after that. That's going to be a combination of AI and all of that. Because we work with a lot of small business owners. They know they need to be out there. They know that they need to be developing that personal brand, but they have no idea where to begin. And
Mhm.
so we're going to give them that actually probably 10% in the middle that they need to do, but we'll help them develop that whole content around it and then they can choose to post it on their social medias, or we can even offer that for them. So those are the next two big things. And we also still do a lot of one-to-one strategy. So we have some different options there that we're fleshing out more of what we're doing and offering. So whether they're a client that we actually execute strategies for, or they're a micro business owner who just needs to know what's the next step I need to do, we have options to help them with that. So two AIs, one human.
Okay. So for your voice, you said voice receptionist or voice assistant. I heard a video a couple of weeks ago where somebody was playing back a recording of their company's voice receptionist, and it was somebody trying to hack their AI voice receptionist by trying to get to the guardrails and get to sort of the source code for the company. And
Mm,
I listened to it thinking, and this is why we can't have nice things. So
right? Yeah.
good luck with setting up firm guardrails on that.
I will definitely have our backend developer be looking at that and saying, what do we need to keep secure?
Yeah, but wow. Well, this has been a really fun discussion as we start to wrap things up. What do you want people who might hire you and your agency to know about you?
We really try to make sure everything is started with strategy first. What is your end goal? Do you need more customers actively calling you, booking jobs right now? Or are you growing to the next stage where you need to stay consistently in front of other people and stay top of mind? So when you're ready to pour more ad spend in, you're the obvious choice. We want our clients to be the authentic person in their industry that everybody knows and trusts. And that's the biggest thing is being here, actually talking to real humans. We do a lot of Zoom, of course, but talking to people on the other end, that's what we're here for. My CEO, Jennifer, and I both love to talk business and marketing. And so they get a dose of everything, whatever they want to talk about, we're willing to visit with them and make sure that we're actually growing their bottom line. Our mission statement is to help all of our clients and ourselves forge a path to prosperity. And by doing that, by providing them more customers, more clients coming in, they're able to provide better wages. They're able to impact their local community more. And that just ripples out from there to make your entire world better just by having a stronger business where you're not stressed about where the next client or customer is coming from.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Nikole, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. It's been a great discussion, and maybe I'll loop back around and see if you want to talk again in a year and see how things have changed.
Right? It'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Peter.
But it's been great talking to you, and we'll talk to you again some other time.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.